Welcome to the webinar on Making Your Job Easier with MRSC Services. I'm Melanie Harding, Executive Director of MRSC, and I'm joined by Steve Hawley, our Research and Communications Analyst today. Just sharing a little bit more about your presenters. I've been the director of MRSC for just 4 months, but before taking this role, I had the pleasure of being an MRSC customer and a local government employee in Washington State for close to 20 years. I know firsthand how helpful the trusted nonpartisan research and information provided by MRSC can be. And Steve does a fantastic job as our research and communications analyst. So he's been with MRSC for more than 10 years, and he's always looking for ways to make our website even better. Today, he'll be showing you some of the powerful tools that we have available to you. And later in the presentation, we'll also be introducing you to some other important MRSC team members who I hope will be a tremendous resource to you. As we dive in, just a few housekeeping items and some tips for the Zoom platform. So to submit content-related or technical questions at any time during the webinar, please use the Q&A feature, and there's a button for that at the bottom of your screen. We've set aside time at the end of the presentation that we hope will get to your questions. And if you'd like to download the presentation slides, you can use the chat feature, which can be opened by pressing the chat button at the bottom of your screen. Typing in the chat you'll find has been disabled, so just a reminder to submit all questions using the Q&A button. Throughout the webinar this morning, if you want to adjust your audio or switch to phone audio, you can click that audio settings button at the bottom left of your screen. When switching to phone audio, you'll see a list of dial-in numbers, and we would recommend calling the highest number on that list or whichever phone number is closest to your area. If you'd like to enable closed captioning, you can press the CC button at the bottom of your screen. You may either show subtitles or view the full transcript. For additional technical support during this webinar, you can call our MRSC training staff at the number on the screen you see there, 206-625-1300, extension 19. With that, here's our agenda for the day. You'll see the core of our presentation is going to be a live demo of the tools on our website presented by Steve. And with that, I'll begin jumping into our first agenda item. So here you can see some of the breadth of MRSC's core services that we'll be talking about during the webinar this morning. And before we do, I'd like to share our mission. So really, we're here to serve you so that you have the resources you need to carry out the goals of your local government. And speaking of you and your local government, we'd like to start with our first polling question of the morning. So what type of agency do you work for? See those answers running in? Okay, so we're at 70%. We'll close this out here in just a few more seconds if you want to get your answers in. All right. So you can see that we have a good chunk today of cities and towns, 42%, and a close runner-up are special purpose districts. So fire departments, ports, schools, transit, all sorts of things that come under that umbrella. Happy to see that we have a good percentage of county folks, as well as some folks that fall into that other category. So maybe from a state agency or an association. It's wonderful to see such a good mix. I know we do have a lot of different types of customers that fall underneath that local government umbrella. So the hallmark of MRSC, as alluded to earlier, is to be a source of timely, trusted, objective information. And while we have been doing this work for a long time, for 90 years, we work hard to be responsive to your needs. Really, there's countless sources of information out there on the web, but MRSC's resources are unique for at least 3 reasons that I'll share with you this morning. One, it's curated. MRSC does the work to comb through literally thousands of documents and distill out the examples that we believe will work best for you, and we annotate all the materials on our website. 2, it's local. We serve Washington State. Everything on our site was developed within the context of Washington State laws and best practices, which we know is important. 3, we're independent and nonpartisan. You can trust that our attorneys and policy staff do not take sides on an issue or in a dispute. We welcome and answer your questions, but should also just share that MRSC does not provide legal representation or serve as legal counsel. So a bonus one, not one of the 1 through 3, we really appreciate it when you send us your government's work products that you're proud of. That allows us to make those available to others around the state as well. Taking a look here at MRSC by the numbers, you can see that we are providing service to thousands of people across the state, and we're grateful that people take advantage of those services. One of the ones that we'll be talking about today is our Ask MRSC service, where you can email or call us for an answer to a custom question. So Ask MRSC is one of our premier services. And how does it work? It's very easy. If you work for a city, a county, or the state, you're eligible for this service. Additionally, hundreds of special purpose districts are also eligible through contracts that we have with partners. So if you're not sure, you can always go to the Ask MRSC section of our website and check. And there's no charge for using the Ask MRSC service, which I know with the resourceful local governments that we work for, that can be important. Before joining MRSC, I had the honor of supporting policy development for a couple of different jurisdictions. So some examples, whether it was restaurant grease interceptors, sidewalk protections, sister city programs, model policies for temporary homeless shelters, I always knew that I could turn to Ask MRSC to assist on these or really any topics if our initial research didn't help us turn up what we were looking for. So with that, would love to hear from you all this morning. Have you recently used the Ask MRSC service? And again, this is where you submit a question to the staff to get assistance and a personalized response. I love how fast I see these responses coming in this morning. Thank you so much. Give it just a few more seconds so the last folks can get their answer in. Okay. So you can see, even though we have this premier service, that a majority of folks on the call, have not used the service recently. And while a third of folks have occasionally, or yes, used it often. So this is a valuable service that remains available to you at no cost, and hope that you might be new fans of using this resource following this webinar. All right. So the MRSC staff are here to help you, and we strive to make it easy and convenient. You can submit a question or request for information to someone in particular if you know the right person, or you can simply reach out to us with our question. You can see here circled in red the Ask MRSC button in the upper right corner of our website that you can click on to submit a question, and we'll make sure that it gets assigned to the right person. The web submittal we try to make easy and convenient, as mentioned, but sometimes there's nothing that is a substitute for talking with someone directly. This could allow you to bat around ideas, talk through a complex or difficult situation, or really just get a feel for a topic when you're really not sure where to start or what you're looking for. You can also call us directly at the numbers that you see there on the screen. So who do you reach when you ask MRSC? I alluded to earlier that we'd be introducing you to some other important folks, staff members that assist with these important kinds of questions. Our consultants include incredible attorneys and policy experts with a wide range of expertise that we hope that you'll get to know. When you reach out, you'll get a prompt and thorough response to questions of law, like information that must be redacted from public records or public works contracting requirements, or finance, like whether grant funds count as gross income in calculating the B&O taxes owed by a city's utility. It can also include policy and land use, like what other jurisdictions are doing related to regulating cannabis retail stores, or personnel. who pays for the charging of fleet vehicles that go home with the employee at night, or the proper executive session process for an employee evaluation. All in all, these are just examples. We really will respond to anything related to local government. And if we don't know the answer, we'll either do the research or direct you to the person, the correct person to assist you. Another service is training. So you saw on that number slide, it's a popular service as well. Our training is primarily through monthly webinars, as well as in-person trainings at conferences that we've been invited to, or our own regional trainings. Our trainings are tailored to government staff, giving you pragmatic tools you can use. One example of that being our popular finance boot camp series. We'll have a list of a couple upcoming trainings at the end of the webinar, but some of them include public records related to 911 dispatching, digging into public works fundamentals, strategies for running more effective meetings, and our annual financial reporting webinar series. You can access the registration and see other offerings on our training page on our website. Importantly, if you missed a training or if you're looking for something that we may have hosted in the past, you can view our on-demand webinars at your convenience. Some even offer professional credits for ongoing certifications. There are some great ones on AI and local government, which I know is a hot topic, as well as a recent work-life harmony webinar that we hosted that had hundreds of people in attendance. It was very popular. So additionally, MRSC has a blog where we publish our own comment. We write timely articles on topics like court decisions, new laws, and emerging technologies that impact your workplace. Like the example here on what you can or can't do in addressing hate speech during the public comment of your meetings. And the easiest way to make sure that you're not missing MRSC blog articles and other timely local government news is to subscribe to our weekly Insights e-newsletter, and you can do that from our website. MRSC also hosts Rosters, which is now the official statewide directory that connects businesses to public agencies for small public works projects, consulting opportunities, and goods and services. The updated Small Works Manual reflects the requirements for the use of the roster. We've also launched a very popular online bidding platform for local governments. So if you have an interest in learning more about rosters, you can definitely visit the website, mrscrosters.org, that you see here. And there are videos that will walk you directly through sign up and usage. If you enjoy using social media to stay connected, you can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. And with that, I'm excited to turn it over to Steve Hawley, who will show you how to easily find all the information and answers you need on our website. Thank you, Steve.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. Good morning, everyone. So our website contains a ton of information that is relevant to local governments in Washington. And you can see here we have thousands of resources. I'll walk you through kind of some of the main sections of our website here in a minute. Before we do that, I've got a question, just kind of get an idea right off the bat. Have you used MRSC's website recently, trying to get an idea of how familiar you are with it? Okay, we'll give it another 5 or 10 seconds here. All right, and you can see here, so a little over half of you say that you have used it occasionally, and then about a quarter say that you have used it often, and just under a quarter say that you have not used it. So that's a pretty good split here, and my hope is that regardless of which category you fall into, even if you are a power user of our website, I hope that you will learn something new here from this webinar today. So with that, I'm going to switch over to the MRSC homepage. So this is mrsc.org, and you can see a variety of highlighted resources here. As Melanie alluded to, we publish 2 new blog posts every week. The most recent one is always highlighted here in this blue box. This particular one is one we just published on using unit lot subdivisions to increase local housing supply. We also have a variety of news articles that you can access from the homepage that also go out in our e-newsletter. Those are links to articles that are written by various media organizations around the state, as well as some national organizations. We also have what we call the Ask MRSC archives. So Melanie talked about the Ask MRSC service, and once a week we'll take a question that we received and answered recently, and we'll publish it to our website. We try to focus on a variety of topics that other people will be interested in. So you can see our most recent one is regarding the revenues from sewer general facility charges. And I do want to emphasize that when we publish these, we remove any identifying information. So they're anonymized. We don't identify specific people or specific jurisdictions, but we kind of edit it and make it more generally and broadly applicable. Now, there are two main ways to explore the information on the MRSC website. And the first is using the search bar at the top of every page. So this is a great place to start if you're looking for a particular topic. And I'll just I'll do a simple one here, simple but popular, public records. So you type in public records and then hit enter or click go. And you will see all of the pages and the resources on our website that correspond to that keyword. So in this case, you can see here we have 843 results related to public records. That's a lot. It's one of our most popular topics. And hopefully you'll find what you're looking for in one of the top few search results here. But if you don't, or if you're looking to kind of drill down more specifically into a particular area of our website, you can also refine your results using this bar on the right. So you can select one or more specific types of resources, whether that's topic pages. You can see we have 221 topic pages here, 459 blog posts. We have publications, we have sample documents, and I'll show you more about some of these in a minute. But if you're not sure what they mean when you're doing your own searches, there's also a question mark tooltip next to it. And if you hover over it, it will tell you topic pages provide topic overviews, including legal guidance, practice tips, examples, and more. Blog posts provide short articles on new legislation, court decisions, emerging issues, and best practices. And publications are downloadable PDF manuals with detailed guidance on key topics. So let's take that publications example and say that you want to see what publications we have related to public records. You click on publications, and with one click, we've gone from, I think it was 843 results down to 6 results. And so you can see we have several publications here about the Public Records Act, about records management technology. We have a Knowing the Territory publication that goes over basic legal requirements and guidelines for elected and appointed officials. And if you click on this, you'll actually see, you'll open the PDF here, and you can browse this, you can save it, you can print it, you can do whatever you want with it. So I'll go back here. You can clear your selections at any time, and that will take you back to your original search. So you can see we're back to 843 results. And I'll do one more example here. So let's take a look at our sample documents. We have an extensive sample document library of over 4,000 sample documents that are adopted and created by local governments around the state. And so if you're looking for a public records policy, for instance, that would be in our sample document library. And you can click on sample documents. You can see we're now down to 81 results. Now, because we have so many sample documents in our library, you can actually take it one step further with sample documents and select a particular type of sample document. So you can see that here, we've got a variety of categories, whether that's contracts and agreements, fee schedules, job descriptions, ordinances and resolutions, policies and procedures, bidding documents, and things like that. So let's stick with the example. We're looking for a public records policy or procedure, and we can click there. And now you're down to just 33 results. And so each one of these sample documents will give you a title. It will tell you the name of the jurisdiction that adopted that particular document, and it will also give you the year that it was adopted. So this first one is from the city of Snoqualmie, adopted 2019. Next one is from the city of Issaquah from 2024. And most of these documents will also provide a short little blurb or description to give you kind of an idea of what information is contained there, or maybe a policy approach or things like that, to give you some sort of indication of whether you might be interested in that document before you even click on it. So we'll take a look at one of these examples. I'll click on the Issaquah example. So clicking on that, you can see here, this is the resolution, the adopting resolution first. And you can scroll down, you've got the signatures, and then you get into the meat of the public records policy, which is the rest of this document. And with our sample document library, what we actually do is we save a copy of these documents. Most of them are PDFs, so we save a copy of these documents to our own website's media library. And you can see if you look up at the URL here, it still starts with mrsc.org. And so this allows us to better curate the documents, and it also allows us to help prevent links from breaking. Because if all of these were going to external websites, that's a lot of links that can change and break over time. So we kind of keep that all within our mrsc.org website. So I'll clear the selections again here. And one other way that you can browse our sample documents is through our sample document library, and that's under research tools. So that gets us into the other way of navigating through the MRSC website, which is if you don't want to search, you can always browse, and you can do that using this navigation bar here. And so I'm going to start just working left to right. So we've got research tools. I'll get to sample documents in just a minute, but we have the Ask MRSC feature that Melanie talked about earlier. So you can click here, or also the green button at the top right corner of any page on our website. And let's actually take a look at what that looks like here. So if you are a city or county, or you work for a state agency, you are automatically eligible. The special purpose districts are a little more complicated. It depends on our various contract partnerships. So we do provide an overview here of who can use the Ask MRSC service if you're not sure. But you select your agency, whether it's a city or a county. So if you're a city, you will be prompted to select your city, and you can choose your specific city. If you are a county, you will similarly be asked to choose your county. We do have a note here that for county legal questions specifically, we are required by state law to send a copy of our response to the county prosecutor. So we try to be upfront about that so nobody has any unpleasant surprises about that. And then if you work for a special purpose district or an association or something like that, you would select this other government entity in Washington state. We are working on some changes and improvements to this form, and particularly the agency selection tools in the next couple months, so stay tuned for that. But for now, what you would do is you would search for your agency. So I'll give an example of Benton PUD. So just starting last year, we now have a contract with the Washington Public Utility Districts Association. So we now serve public utility districts with the Ask MRSC service. Then you would search for your agency name and select. In this case, we only have one agency that matches that keyword. So you select that agency and click continue. And then whatever agency you selected, then you go to this form here and enter your contact information and the nature of your question, as well as how soon you'd like a response. And we do our very best to get back to you within your desired time frame. So sometimes you might need an answer by tonight's council meeting. Other times you might have something that could wait a week or two, or a longer term thing that might take a month. So having that information helps us prioritize and get to those questions in the right amount of time. Other research tools, we have the Ask MRSC archives that I mentioned earlier. So you can browse questions. Well, let's take a look at that. So you can browse questions, either the recent questions that we have posted here, or you can browse by topic. So if you want to take a look at questions on finance and budgeting, for instance, you could click there and select Go. And then you will see the recent finance and budgeting questions that we have posted. We also have a city and county website search. So the search that I showed you previously searches the MRSC website. This one is a little different. So this is a customized Google search that we have put together, and it actually searches city and county websites, not the MRSC site. So that can be really helpful if you're looking for information on what other jurisdictions have on their websites. And so let's say you're a county official, you're working on updating your critical areas ordinance, and you want to take a look at what other counties have done. So you could click in this county bar, type in critical areas, click the search button. And so we're still on the MRSC website, but you'll see that the search results here show you a variety of counties. So Island County, Whatcom County, Pierce County. And if you click on any one of these, it will open in a new window. And now you can see we're no longer on the MRSC site. So we are now on the Island County website. And this is their critical areas website and resources. And you can take a look at those. So I'll close out of this, go back to the MRSC site. There's a similar tool for cities, city websites. We also have city and town profiles. This provides a list of all 281 incorporated cities and towns in the state of Washington. You can see for any of these jurisdictions, if you click on them, you can expand them, get information about their contact information, list of city officials, links to their municipal code, comprehensive plan, budget, if they have those documents available online. You can also sort these by population, by county, by city classification, and by form of government, just by clicking on the arrows at the top of any of these columns. So they're in alphabetical order right now, but you could sort by population. So now we're looking at starting with the smallest towns. And if you click one more time, now it's flipped. So you're looking at the biggest cities and working on down. Or you could take a look at form of government, for instance. So if I click that, now you're seeing all of the council manager cities listed first, and then you get to mayor council if you keep going. So that can be a neat tool as you're doing your research. We also have a similar tool for county profiles. We have a local ballot measure database. I'm not going to go and show you all of these resources. We don't really have time to do that. There's just too much. But if your jurisdiction is working on planning for your own ballot measure, this provides a database of all of the ballot measures around the state going back close to 15 years at this point. And so you can see how well they have done. The one that we don't include is school districts. That is tracked separately by the state superintendent's office. Our sample document library. So you can access our sample documents by searching, as I showed you earlier, but you can also browse them here. And that can be useful in certain situations. So this provides another option to search, and you can search by specific document types. But there are also some times when it can just be helpful to browse. And so one of those is job descriptions. And you can have a lot of similar job descriptions or job duties that have different titles to the jobs. So we'll click on job descriptions here and go. And here you can see we have 370 job descriptions in our library here, and they are sorted alphabetically. So you can see we have a variety of accounting related positions first, followed by various administrative positions, airports, appraisers, animal control, and so on. So that provides just another way of accessing that information. Some other tools that we have, if you are involved in procurement and contracting, we have a tool called Find Your Contracting Requirements. You select your project or procurement type, you select your agency type, and then it will give you a summary of all of your competitive bidding requirements. If you work in utility billing, we also have a utility liens and shutoffs tool. So that leads you through a series of questions to help you navigate the very complex legal terrain of whether or not you are allowed to impose a lien or shut off service for non-payment. We also have links to all of the city and county codes that are available online if you want to go directly to those, as well as links to state resources on state laws, the RCWs, the Revised Code of Washington, the Washington Administrative Code, as well as state court decisions. So those are our research tools. Next up is the Explore Topics section of our website, and this is the meatiest part of our website. So we have over 350 what we call topic pages that are housed in this area. And you can browse by topic area. So you can see we've got a variety of areas, business licensing, climate and environment, finance and budgeting, elections, housing and homelessness, a lot of information here. So we'll take a look at, let's just take a look at planning and growth management. So now you will see a list of all of the topic pages that are in that section organized by subtopics. So you've got Growth Management Act, plan elements, environmental regulations, subdivisions, zoning, and the list goes on. So you can browse by topic area. And actually, before I go on, let me show you what one of those pages looks like. So let's take a look at one of the ones that we have updated recently. So we just published a page on building codes and building permits. So what you'll see on our topic pages, this is what they look like. There's a kind of a brief blurb at the top that tells you what information is on the page, and then you have a table of contents that shows you the main sections of the page, and you can start from the beginning, work your way all the way down, or you can also click to go down to a particular section on the page, types of building permits in this case. And then there's also a back to top button at the bottom if you want to go, as the name says, back to the top. So that's what the topic pages look like. And then if you're having a hard time, figuring out, sometimes you get some pages or some topics that are kind of a gray area. Maybe you're not sure where to find them, or maybe you just really want to browse all the stuff that we have. There is also an option to view all topic pages alphabetically. So this is going to be a very long list, but you can see all of our topic pages A to Z here. You've got you can jump to a specific letter of the alphabet. So if you click down there, now you're on all of the pages that begin with the letter P, and you can find whatever you're looking for there. So some examples of pages that we have recently published or significantly overhauled. We had the building codes and building permits one that I just showed you. We just published a major update to our design review page. We also have a new page on apprentice utilization in public works contracts for those contracts over $2 million. A new page on running for elected office. We have the election season coming up here for cities and towns and special purpose districts. Telecommunications regulation, employment discrimination, workplace harassment. So lots of different, very diverse topics, as you can see. Next up is the Stay Informed section of our website. So this is where you can see all of our recent blog posts. This is also where you can sign up for our e-newsletters. And if you only take one thing away from today's webinar, hopefully you take more than that. But if you only take one thing, I would highly encourage you, if you're not already signed up for our e-newsletters, to do that, because that is really our best way of sharing information with you. And you can make sure that you're getting the latest information, all the updates on our blog posts and new and updated pages, the Ask MRSC archives, the In the News, pretty much everything I'm showing you here today. When we have updates for those go out through our weekly insights newsletter. We also have the training section of our website. So Melanie mentioned that earlier. We have a wide variety of both live webinars like we're doing right now, as well as in-person workshops and events around the state, some on-demand and pre-recorded webinars if you have missed them. So you can sign up and learn more through the training section of our website. We also have 24 PDF publications that address core local government topics. So these do a really deep dive into a lot of these topics. You can see some of our most popular ones here. We have ones on procurement and bidding, contracting. We have a county commissioner guide. We also have a mayor and council member handbook for cities that we produce in partnership with the Association of Washington Cities. We have guidance on accessory dwelling units, the Open Public Meetings Act, public records, revenues, lots of different topics. And I'll show you what one of those looks like here. So we're clicking on the revenue guide for Washington cities and towns. We also have one for Washington counties as well. And you can kind of get an overview of the document as well as when it was last updated. So in this case, I'll make it a little bigger. In this case, November 2024. And for all of the publications that we've been updating over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, we have a revision history so that we tell you actually what information has changed recently so that you can get an idea of that. And then you'll also see the table of contents, information on property taxes, sales taxes, business taxes, lodging taxes, all sorts of different taxes and fees and revenues. Most of these documents are now interactive, so you can click through and jump to a particular section of that publication. So I'll go back here, and then that's the publications. We have the most popular ones listed here in this drop-down. We don't have space to list all of them there, so if they're not listed here, you can also click on View More Publications, and that will take you to an alphabetical list of all of the publications that we have to offer. And then we also have the About section where you can learn more about MRSC, both our organization and the individuals who work here. There are links to our rosters website and our electronic bidding. We're not going to be talking about that specifically. That's kind of a separate function, but you can access it from our website if you want to. And then finally, we have a contact option. You can find that under the About section or at the top of the website. So we highly encourage you to get in touch with us. We hope that you learn a lot of great information from us, but we also learn a lot of great information from you. And so we do ask if you have a research question that you submit it through the Ask MRSC form. That just makes it easier for us to make sure that it's getting to the right person in a timely manner. You can also contact individual MRSC staff members. You can contact our roster's customer service team. And then if you have something else, like you're on a web page and there's a broken link, uh, you want to request a training or something like that, we have a contact form for those sorts of general issues as well. So again, we love to hear from you. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Melanie and give me just a second to pull the slides back up again.
Thank you so much, Steve, and thank you for handling that technical stuff in the background. I appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us to learn about MRSC services and resources. One thing that we just emphasize on this slide is that there's no need to keep these services a secret. So we hope you'll join us as a partner in spreading the word. We'd love to be a resource to local governments. For anyone who maybe is an overachiever or would like to take away an optional extra credit assignment today, that would be to share something you've learned with a teammate or encourage others to sign up for our newsletter, so that we can make sure that we're helping even more local governments and local governments, elected officials, and employees achieve the excellence that they're looking for in their communities. And with that, we will move on to questions. So just a reminder before we jump in, we would like you to use that Q&A feature to submit your questions today. So you see on the screen what that button looks like, and you can find it at the bottom of your page. And right now, it looks like we have one question from an attendee that's asking about Ask MRSC, and they're curious as a planning consultant for multiple cities and counties if they can use the Ask MRSC service. So for consultants, this is a little bit like a contracted employee situation. So if you're under contract working for a local government in service to a project for them, then you can reach out and use the Ask MRSC services. So that is one way that we help you. A follow-up question in the chat is, does the state pay for this service? So MRSC, for the core services that you've heard about today, we have been lucky to be a recipient of state funding for those services. If you have access to MRSC through a risk pool or through another membership service, then we may have a contract with your membership service to provide resources and service to you. So a little bit, it depends on what kind of agency they're coming from. Thank you for that great question. Okay, I'm not seeing any further questions in the Q&A right now, but would welcome any additional ones, and we'll pause just another moment here to make sure that there are others. So we have one question on, we're looking to utilize either Bonfire or another company called OpenGov. Do you have any recommendations on either? So I think this is a great example of an Ask MRSC question. This is one kind of question that would allow us to connect you to see if we have a subject matter expert or a consultant that's familiar with these types of fields, and if they have resources and information for you. Don't have the right subject matter expertise on the call with you this morning to handle that one, though. Still a great question. All right. We have a question on, it states, do you have any ideas to drill down on the Growth Management Act and the grants they are doing right now? I would like to get some help in this today. So this, I think, is just also going to point to the value of our Ask MRSC services. When you do fill out the Ask MRSC form online, or you can call that number that's listed on our website, you have a chance to indicate how urgent your question is. So you can actually click a button that basically says that you're looking for information, right away or today on a specific kind of topic. Um, Again, it's not something that we would have the expertise to answer on this call this morning, but really a fabulous question. I know that one is that's probably important to a lot of different agencies working in this environment right
And if I could add, Melanie,
now.
for anything that's urgent, so like if you're wanting an answer by the end of today, for instance, we do recommend that you call us. There is a number that is available. I think we probably mentioned it earlier, but you can submit your question online, or you can give us a call. And if you're wanting something that's right away, calling is the best way to do that.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you providing that extra important context for folks. We have a question that's a little bit, sounds like it's related to our legal services. So, do you assist communities or towns with arbitration? So, we provide legal consultancy. We don't provide legal advice or specific tailored legal services to an agency. So sometimes when there is a legal issue, folks will reach out to us with more general questions. But if you're in arbitration or looking for support specifically with a case or an incident, probably would need to go to your own legal services because again, we provide guidance and answer questions, but not legal advice or legal services. We have a great question on, is there a guide for using the SmallWorks roster, especially the final steps of filing who is chosen? So I think and Steve, I'll let you know if you know some of the resources on there. But I did just
I
want to
do.
say,
I
yeah,
can show you. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
We do have what we call our SmallWorks roster manual. So we did a complete overhaul of it with the changes that took effect July 1st of last year. So you can see it here. This is that Explore Topic section I was mentioning under Procurement and Public Works, or you could search for SmallWorks roster. But the roster manual goes into various different aspects of the roster process. So we have information on preparing to use a SmallWorks roster, planning a SmallWorks roster project, and then the two possible bidding and contracting methods within that. So whether it's a competitive bidding situation or whether you have a direct contracting situation. So I would say start there and take a look, see if you can find what you are looking for there. And if you can't, feel free to get in touch with our Ask MRSC service.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate not only having the information at your fingertips, but the live demo as well. We have an additional rosters question from someone who uses the MRSC rosters for vendors and small works, and they're asking about the benefits of deciding to use e-bidding. So I want to thank this person for challenging my nuanced understanding like 4 months into my role. So I'm going to give my best guess answer, but unless Steve has some follow-up, I'm also just going to let you know that my email is going to be on you can see it here on this slide. So would welcome you to send this question via my email too, so I can check this with our folks that provide great customer service in that area. So it's my understanding that the e-bidding services that we offer really allow people to more efficiently, effectively comply with a lot of the transparency that in state regulations that there are for sharing out some of that documentation and some of the bidding process and posting that online. So a lot of those types of requirements are automated under that system to the best of my knowledge. Steve, unless you have any further to add there?
I can say that we are working on publishing a new Explore Topics page on electronic bidding and the general subject of it that will address some of that information as well. As far as the details of the rosters platform and the rosters e-bidding service, that would be a question better answered by their customer service team than by me.
Yeah, and again, our customer service team with rosters is really prides themselves on their service. So if you want to use my email to send that question to me, I can forward that to them as well so that you can get a comprehensive answer. Our next question is, do you work with University of Washington Urban Planning Department and Public Policy? Right now, obviously the resources that are available on our website can be accessed by anyone, but in general, the customers that we serve are local governments. So, cities, counties, special purpose districts, state agencies are also a customer of ours. And so there probably are collaboration opportunities and learning opportunities as far as research that we've done, but they're not a customer that we serve per se. And we have a follow-up question for Steve, and it asks, would you mind going over the last steps to get to the list of procurement process?
Right. So I assume we're still talking about the SmallWorks roster process there. Um, how about so my email is here on the screen here. If you can follow up with me after that, that would be great, and then we can I can try to help you find what you're looking specifically for.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be true for our next question as well. I'm excited. It looks like we have a business or consultant that's on the line with us this morning, learning more about MRSC. And they're registered for small projects that are under 150,000. But their question is, what if I get invited to bid on a big project? More than that, or over $350,000, and that they get awarded. Do they need to submit different documents? Or certification to their account. So sounds like to me this is another question for our rosters team, so you can really start to understand the nuance of all the different like qualifications and regulations that they're well versed in to be able to answer these questions in explicit detail and walk folks through it as needed. So if the answer for this question would email us, we'll be sure to connect you with our rosters folks to get that answer.
And I can show Melanie. I've pulled up the MRSC
Yeah.
rosters website. So that's mrscrosters.org. So it's a separate website. We haven't discussed it today. They do their own kind of training and education about those processes. So it would be great to get in touch with them.
Yeah, thank you for showing off that resource, Steve. Appreciate the live demos. Oh, and we have a follow-up that the links in the chat have been helpful. So thanks to the folks also assisting with technical assistance.
Perfect.
And we have some thank yous in the chat. We do have one person. This is actually, I know I'm 4 months in. This is my first MRSC webinar. So we have a question of whether we publish the answers that folks have asked in our online webinars. That is something I do not have the answer to yet.
Melanie, I'll say that the three of us can discuss that after the event and figure out if we want to do that.
That sounds great. And if you want, thank you for asking a question. That's something I haven't learned yet in the 4 months, and would welcome that to be sent by email as well. So as we check in, then we can follow up with you and share not only what we do in that instance, but why we choose, that path forward. So right now, just seeing some additional gratitude. All right, give just a second. All right. So not seeing any additional questions at this time, but that doesn't mean that we don't welcome them. That's part of the emphasis on the Ask MRSC portion of this presentation, is that we are always here for your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and shift over. I mentioned earlier that there was going to be a slide on some of our upcoming trainings. So this outlines a few of the ones that we have coming up and that I mentioned earlier today. But really the resource on this is at mrsc.org/training. So would just encourage you to get familiar with that website. You can go there and see some other ones that are either we will be opening soon or some other ones that are available. And there's also, there's ones coming online all the time. So hope you'll keep in touch. And speaking of keeping in touch, we hope that you've enjoyed learning more about MRSC. You can take a moment now. If you're like me and you like to open a tab so you remember to do something later, you could take a moment to open a website tab for mrsc.org/e-news. And that would just have that prompt there so you can sign up for our newsletter later today. And finally, as noted, we're always working to be responsive to your needs. It's been an MRSC value long before I came here for the last 90 years, and your feedback helps us to do that. So again, Ask MRSC remains available to you, but importantly, there's also going to be an a training evaluation survey that pops up, and we hope that you will take the time to complete that survey at the conclusion of the event. Your feedback does help us to serve you better. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We absolutely look forward to continuing to serve you and to be a resource in helping you and your local governments achieve success.
Thank you, everyone.